is a tasty burger? Well, guys, I've finally returned. I looked on YouTube, I looked at the dates. This is the longest I've been without posting any type of video. It's because I was busy with school. Now I'm officially on break. That is awesome. I have a lot of end of the year homework to do, catching up on movies that I haven't seen, rewatching some movies that I think will be in my best films of 2023. But I did want to talk about one film that I saw in one of my classes this year that was a homework assignment. If you can believe that watching Pulp Fiction is homework. Yeah, that happened. I'm dead serious. I remember I watched it the week before that week because I just wanted to have my fresh first viewing experience before I had to write a paper about it. And then I watched it a second time the week we were actually doing that paper. And then I felt like watching it a third time, and then a fourth time. And I ended up watching this film 4 times, all within a month. You hear other people really hyping a movie up for you, and sometimes that doesn't work. I've had films where that really didn't work for me, but this is a home run from the one and only Quentin Tarantino. And the IMDb page synopsis for Pulp Fiction, which is better than anything that I could come up with. The lives of two mob hitmen, a boxer, a gangster and his wife, and a pair of diner bandits intertwine in 4 tales of violence and redemption. Now, with Quentin Tarantino, I've always heard that his dialogue really pops. I think Pulp Fiction might be the one where the dialogue pops the most. So many memorable scenes in here, so many scenes that I love, so many just quotes that just live rent-free in my head. The dialogue is off the charts incredible. The way that he uses stories, the stories that characters tell each other. And as these characters tell these stories and they talk to each other, you get to learn more about the characters telling the stories. And it gets to a point where it's like, oftentimes nowadays a character needs a tragic backstory for you to get really invested in them. And here that's not needed. You get really interested in the different mannerisms of these characters, and you really start to buy into them as individual people, which is something that really excels in this movie. That it's a hodgepodge of different, not just stories, but like different types of people. You have characters that appear for one scene, but for that one scene they're so memorable, like the taxi driver that drives Butch around, or Christopher Walken in one scene that is such a great monologue that I didn't see coming, that was serious. And this is something weird about this film, that it's able to intertwine some more serious elements with over the top comedy, and it really blends it perfectly. This one scene with Christopher Walken really exemplifies it because it's really serious for quite a bit, and then it gets absurd to the point where the first time I watched it I almost died laughing. It was the kind of thing where it didn't undercut drama for something stupid. The whole thing was a build up for that joke. The fact that it was intense and then it pays off where it does, which I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to spoil any of this movie. In some weird way that Tarantino is able to come up with, I don't know how, it works. It all coalesces together and it doesn't feel out of place. But going back to that dialogue, there's just so many like random conversations in this film. Sometimes it leads somewhere. And even when it doesn't, it's just so well written. And you just want to watch that scene over and over again. But I think what really adds to that are the characters themselves, which I talked about. It's this group of people that you're not always supposed to like. I mean, you do. You like them. But I mean, they're not the best people. But through this dialogue, through different scenarios that Quentin Tarantino throws them in, they really grow on you. The way that Quentin Tarantino is able to present you with these characters with different shades of morality in each of them, he's still able to find humanity and let that humanity flourish throughout the film. Something I should bring up. The assignment, we had to read a chapter out of this book, and it was an essay that Christopher Vogler did on this film, on how it connects to the hero's journey. And reading that essay, it really expanded my appreciation for the film. Being able to see how the different archetypes showed up in each of these characters. The film, even though it's a bunch of different stories, they each still follow that hero's journey. Whether you have Samuel L. Jackson's Jules Winfield, John Travolta's Vincent Vega, who, by the way, I dressed up as for Halloween. I made a post about that. And I'll even include a picture of me with my friends at a Halloween party I went to. And then you also have Bruce Willis's Butch. And the film is able to do 3 distinct heroes' journeys for each of them. And it's a hero's journey that they each follow according to this Bible verse that Quentin Tarantino rewrote for the film.
You read the Bible, Brett?
Yes.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits this occasion. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
Each of these characters start out trying to be the righteous man, but then each at a certain point, either in their own stories or in somebody else's stories, they're the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. It's such a great use of just like biblical allegories. Pulp Fiction is a film that has more to it when you look below the surface. I saw an article online sometime that people were talking about that Pulp Fiction is a movie about nothing, that it served no purpose, and I don't see where they're coming from, because it's a film that at its forefront, it's an examination of redemption. And surprisingly, at times it does that beautifully and with certain like emotion to it, which really came as a shock to me. One of the times I watched it, the film ended, I almost teared up. It's not just kind of like classic because of the lines and everything. I mean, it's a lot of that. And it's a lot of that that pushed it up to, I believe, number 8 on like the top 250 on IMDb. But there really is more to this film. This film goes for many different tones, as I mentioned before, but it does that in a clever way, because each time it's able to tell one singular story, but not have that tone continue throughout the movie. The film's not one note whatsoever. It is kind of like flipping channels. You're watching one story and then you're like, okay, we're done with that. Go to the next one. And it really works. What Tarantino kept consistent, the writing of dialogue, the characters, and the theme, is what kept it all together. I'm not going to beat around the bush any longer. You guys know I love this film. I couldn't stop praising it throughout this entire review. I am going to give Pulp Fiction an A+. But guys, as always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Comment down below, what do you think about Pulp Fiction? I think that's a stupid question, though, because a lot of people are just going to say, oh, it's awesome, whatever. Are there some people that don't love this movie? And I'll see you guys next time. I mean, it's no Royale with cheese, but I'm loving it.